they're after our rights to hunt, to hunt and to run our dogs. And I don't know how many people on here run dogs or hunt with dogs that follow me, but it's amazing how people just can find any way to find and look what we do and say it's cruel. Hey everybody, this is Joey with Atomic Outdoors, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about the 2026 annual banquet for the South Carolina Sporting Dog Association and what I took away from it, and hopefully I can encourage y'all to, if you live in South Carolina, to join up. They didn't ask me to do this by any means, but I do feel obliged as a dog hunter in South Carolina to get other dog hunters in South Carolina to join up. I took a lot away from this meeting, and if you didn't make it, hopefully you can hear what I have to say about it and take something from it. To start off with, man, it was a very well put together meeting. The director and the board of directors did a real good job putting this together. It's well organized. Me and my buddy John, we went early. We got there probably about, I don't know, lunchtime, and it didn't start till I think 5 o'clock that afternoon. But we got there early, helped set up if we could, and just walked around the venue. It was in Lake City, South Carolina. If I'm not mistaken, that's probably where it's going to be, unless we get so big that we have to rent out something else. That's my hopes, and I'm sure it's Paul, the president of the president of the association. I believe it's his goal too that we get so big that we have to go to a bigger venue. Like I said, it was good fellowship. Man, we had good food. As I'm talking, you see videos of some of the stuff we had going on there. Havoc Hunting Supply was there, selling some stuff. It was, everything a dog hunter needed was right there with Havoc Hunting Supply. So shout out to them. I didn't know they were South Carolina and Georgia based, so I was glad to hear that. They're not terribly far from me, whether I go to Georgia or somewhere in South Carolina. I think they're Johnsonville, South Carolina. So check them out. I'm not affiliated with them in any means, but anybody that's close to home, I try to support. That being said, like I said, it was very good food, very good fellowship. A lot of people there. I think they said it was about 750 people in total that was there. And what I took away from it, like first and foremost, is that we need to get involved. Us as dog hunters need to be more involved with the political side of what we do. And I hate even like having to say that, but that's the world we live in. One thing that was said over and over again is that there's people out there that don't like what we do, and I guess I knew that, but I guess in my mind that was somewhere else. It wasn't in South Carolina. It wasn't ever going to affect me. I guess that's foolish to think that, but my preacher always said this, like with some of the craziness that we saw going on in other states and like real sinful lifestyles and stuff. He always said it's coming to a city near you, and I'll kind of say that in this aspect as well. This stuff's coming to a city near you. If you think it's not affecting you, what we've seen happen in Virginia and what we see happen in other states, well, it's going to affect you. So, you need to pay attention. You need to get involved in the politics of it. I know a lot of people don't like that, but guess what, guys? They make the laws, so we need to get involved. So that's what I'm going to say about that. But we had, like I said, Paul Caskey is the president of the association. Very well spoken. He's done a lot for the dog hunters in South Carolina. Actually, close to home, there was a hunt that used to be a big deal around here, and well, it got shut down. Paul made some phone calls to a bunch of people, and the hunt got brought back into play. So even around my area, I've already seen like what the association can do. I've seen the results of it, and so all right, let me talk about who was there. So first, we had a guy named Michael August. He was a part of Darlington Sheriff's Department. I'm looking at my little pamphlet I have there. By the way, this is a little pamphlet they have out, it says sporting dog, but it was mainly hunting dog people there. But Michael August was, like I said, from Darlington Sheriff's Department. And one thing he hit on was the fact that kids that are involved in things like the outdoors, sports, he doesn't see as much later on in life. You know, when he sees kids out, you know, playing sports or involved in the outdoors, you know, with their family and friends, you know, he doesn't feel like he's going to have to worry about them as much later on in life. Obviously, that happens, but you know, he just said get them involved. That was his speech mainly, was get your kids involved in something. But that was kind of like what he hit on. He thanked everybody for, you know, being a part of everything, but like his main thing was saying, hey, get your kids involved in this stuff. And I'll second that. Get your kids involved. My son Jacob, you see him in my videos. Um, he's everywhere with me when I go outdoors. If he's not in school, he's with me. So, you know, he's a good boy. He likes being out there. And Ava, when she's grown or growing up, she's still a baby. When she gets bigger, I'm not gonna wish that time to go by, but when she gets bigger, she will be there too. So get them involved. All right. And, the next speaker was the director of the SCDNR. He was our game warden, director of our game wardens, was Dr. Thomas Mulliken. Yeah, Mulliken. And man, he was a powerhouse because he was a very good speaker. And man, guys, the passion he has for the outdoors, and especially for us as dog hunters, man, he praised us and he just thanked us for what we do, and you know, told us the fight that they're having with, you know, laws and stuff like that. You know, I know everybody, you know, is hard on the game wardens and stuff a lot of times, but this man really does love what he does. He loves the outdoors, and he loves to see people hunting and fishing. You know, obviously we have laws, so he's, you know, got to enforce them because that's his job. But his job also is fighting against laws that affect us in a negative way too. And especially since this was a dog hunters deal, he was praising us on that. He also said that he wanted to stick a hog. I know that as a hog hunter, that stuck out to me a lot too. But man, he was very well spoken. He had a good message for us, and I can't say enough good things about him. I met him in the lobby, didn't even know who he was because I've never met him, never seen him, and but he was very kind and respectful. He didn't talk to me like he was trying to get my vote for anything, which I don't think he voted on them. But anyways, he was just a regular guy, nice guy, and man, but he could speak really well. And after him, this was kind of a surprise appearance. She wasn't supposed to be there, but it was the Lieutenant Governor of the state of South Carolina, Pamela Evitt. I think I said her name right. She's probably about to be whenever it comes time, she's going to be our next governor, I think. And man, she had a lot of good stuff to say. I know she's a politician, you know, and so you take that how you want it. But, you know, when you got skin in the game, it means different things. And what I mean by that, she's got kids that love to hunt. You know, I think she said they were duck hunters and dove hunters. When you have skin in the game like that, when your kids are involved, you know, you tend to fight to protect it. And she's very serious about, you know, the outdoors for our state and our culture in our state. And I think if she gets it, I think she'll do a good job. Again, she wasn't supposed to be there. She didn't have to be there. And this wasn't like obviously her biggest crowd she would speak to, but she come in anyways, and she had a lot of good things to say. Couldn't say enough good things about what she had to tell us. Like, I think she's been our lieutenant governor for 8 years. So, you know, she hasn't just showed up out of nowhere. And she's seen how things go. She's fought, you know, the fight for us in that position. And she's continuing to do it now. She supports our DNR. She supports our right to hunt and right to hunt with our dogs. But she told us all to invite her out. She really enjoys when people invite them to do stuff so she can see firsthand. And guys, I say take them up on those offers. If you live in South Carolina, or if you have a politician saying these things, hey, burn them up with questions and phone calls, and get them to come out there and see what we're all about. See that we're not just a bunch of hooligans out there, you know, being stupid. I mean, obviously we like to have a good time and cut up, and you know, we get wild sometimes. The representative for Lake City, he was there, Roger Kirby. Again, he was very big on helping the South Carolina Sporting Dog Association with what they've had going on. One thing that each of them said, the representatives that spoke, and Paul, something he reiterated as well, is there's not a lot of like-minded people. When I say like-minded, people that think like me and think like you as dog hunters, there's not a lot of them in political spots. And people who think like that and who are like-minded, who care about our freedoms to be able to do that and do this, what we love to do, they're not in the positions they need to be in. So, and I say that to say this: if you feel like this itch, like, man, I think I could run for office, or maybe this is something I want to do, I urge you to do it. If you're a hunter, or especially in this case, a dog hunter, get involved, because a lot of times dog hunters are looked at as like the redheaded stepchildren of the hunting world. People say the wildest things about us, like we're lazy, we let the dogs do all the work, but they really are speaking from a place of ignorance. Because if you've ever owned a dog and that you've trained to do anything, you're not being lazy. The work and the time you have to put in, no matter what his job is. If he's good at it, it's because somebody put the time in, and not just the dog. The owner did a lot of work too, and we as hunters are the best conservationists out there. The ones that do it right. We want to see land taken care of. We want to see places clean and no trash. We want to see animals, treated right, because we want to be able to hunt them later too. We want there to be more of what we like to hunt. Now, the hog hunting community, we might be looked at different if we say stuff like that, but because hogs are such a nuisance. But they're not going anywhere, and we want to hunt them again. But I say that for deer hunters, fox hunters, whatever you do, we want to preserve the game. We want to preserve, what we love to do. And so we're your best conservationists, and because we have skin in the game. They auctioned off some very good prizes. They had a nice, super nice aluminum dog box. They had an oyster cooker there. You see it in the video right here. I mean, they gave away all kinds of dog food because Pride Dog Food representative was there. Nice guy too. Met him. He was real nice. We had a good talk. I've met him before, but had a good time sitting there talking to him about fox dogs and stuff. Who else was there? Like I said, Pride Dog Food was there. Havoc Hunting Supply was there. And some of y'all may be asking, like, Joey, exactly, like, what are they after? What are they after? And they're after our rights to hunt, to hunt and to run our dogs. And I don't know how many people on here run dogs or hunt with dogs that follow me, but it's amazing how people just can find any way to find and look what we do and say it's cruel, or it's it's unhealthy for the dog, it's this and that, and I've had people bash me on Facebook and call the law on me for nothing. They see my dogs riding in a dog box, so it's like, oh man, we got to call the law on him. So I've experienced that myself, and I'm sure some of y'all have too. So there's people out there that just literally hate what we do, and if it was their up to them, it was their decision, we wouldn't have the right to hunt. We wouldn't have the right to have hunting dogs, and all dogs would be house dogs and lap dogs, and a lot of our big hunting dogs could be lap dogs too, because they're just that good a dog. But they love doing this, and we don't make them hunt. Man, if you can make a dog hunt, everybody I know would have good dogs, because you can make them do it. You can put the fear of God in them and make them do it, or tempt them with food or whatever it may be. You can make them do something, and that's just not the case for every dog. But yeah, so that's just it's just like I said. I mean, that's what they're after. They're after mine and your right to be able to hunt with dogs, and they're cutting it down. I think what happened in Virginia, and if you're anybody's watching that knows better than me, they wanted to cut down the size of the property you could hunt on. You know, if you had a dog, you couldn't not cut down, but they want to make it where if you didn't have up to 1,000 acres, you couldn't even turn loose a dog. And in some sense, I know you need more land to hunt dogs, and you can't. I have people that ask me all the time to come catch hogs, and I'm like, well, how big a property we on? And it may be only 50 acres. I'm like, I can't. Do you have permission around you? Do you have permission on the properties around you? Because if you don't, then I can't come. We can trap, but we can't run our dogs. And just because you know as well as I do that 50 acres like that, the dog's off of it. And the main place I hunt right now was our hunt club, and it's only a little over 500 acres, so that would have cut me out, Thankfully, though, I do have permission with the other properties to come get my dogs and stuff, but still, I mean, you can't even, if you don't have over 1,000 acres, you can't turn loose. And man, that's just, I don't know, not everybody has access to that. So it really hurts you. And in South Carolina, in the area I'm at too, stuff's being so overdeveloped, those size properties are going away. People are passing away and their children don't want nothing to do with it. So it gets sold off. And, man, sign me up to the wheel. Sign me up. I'll take it. I'll pay the taxes on it. But, that's what they're after. And, man, and so what we see here with Paul and this group with the South Carolina Sporting Dog Association, they, like I said, they come in and fight for you, and they do a good job. And another thing with this event too, I'd like to mention that I didn't mention earlier, but man, guys, it's very kid friendly, very family oriented. This event is. As a Christian, I appreciated the prayer. We we prayed before, we prayed, we praised during, everybody that got up was thanking God. And even Paul himself said, more important than getting your kids out in the woods is getting your kids to know the Lord. So me, I appreciate that. I don't, maybe nobody else might not care about it, but I did. And all the kids that were there, they got something. Some kids got lifetime hunting license. Some kids, every kid got something, whether it was fishing poles, basketball, football, just anything you can think of they had for kids, especially like a kid that likes sports and outdoors. So they really did a good job getting the kids involved. And like I said, they gave away a lot of stuff. It was a good time. And don't just come for the giveaways. Come to be a part and to hear what they have to say, make a difference. And let's make sure that our kids and grandkids and our friends, kids and grandkids, for generations to come, can do what we love to do. We don't want to be selfish and just let it be ours. We want everybody to be able to do this and to the end of time, hopefully. But that's all I got to say about it, guys. Reach out to me, leave a comment below, ask questions, and I'll try to get back with you. I will get back with you, but I'll try to have the most accurate answer I can have for you. But and if you have anything like this going on in your state, whatever state you're in, let me know. I'd like to know where everybody is that subscribes to me. But let me know what y'all have going on, what laws y'all are fighting, and because if y'all are fighting it there, we're either fighting it here or we will be fighting it here. So I'd like to know before it gets here too. So also like I said, go join up with your local Dog Hunters Association or Sporting Dog Association that you have in your state. Guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and leave a comment, please, and tell me what your thoughts are. We'll see y'all later. God bless y'all.